Hello, this is Arturelia. This is Arturelia Film Reviews. I'm returning today. With me I have Sin Corner and...
Sin's Corner.
Sin's Corner and...
Sin's Corner!
Get it right!
Corey Michaels Movies. Did I get it right?
Oh, yes, barely.
Today we're going to be reviewing...
Halloween 1978.
Yeah,
Parentheses.
My mom is still afraid of this guy.
Favorite horror movie of all time.
Bold statement.
Yep.
But now we're here to do a review of Halloween and what we think about it. Let's go. So, the year is 1963. A young boy murders his sister. Years later, in 1978, this boy, now a man, escapes from a mental facility. Samuel Loomis? Dr. Loomis. Is it a psychologist? What is he?
I don't know if he was like a psychologist or a psychiatrist. He was just his
psychiatrist.
doctor.
Yeah, he was a doctor.
Who looked after Michael, now must find him.
Michael was the young boy that killed the sister. You said a young boy. You didn't say his name was Michael.
Michael soon comes to the town where Laurie is. Soon, Laurie will go through a horrible Halloween night as Michael comes home.
The night he came home.
The darkest hour.
Now, the soundtrack is creepy. One of the most classic horror music
it might
in
be
a film.
the most classic. I think it's one of the most
I mean,
recognizable
I
things.
couldn't tell you what the Friday the 13th soundtrack is. Like, I couldn't hear that in my head. But, like it hasn't stuck. That one. Okay, so that one.
I mean, it's pretty, pretty famous, but I'd put the Halloween one over that.
Yeah.
The characters, Laurie has a normal teen life till, well, what happens when Michael comes home, and... I mean, what would you think about her two friends? Stupid?
Generic horror movie.
Teenagers.
Yeah, terrible actresses.
I do think with Laurie, though, she gets put in a situation where she kind of has to think desperately before she gets killed.
Well, she just reacts on sheer panic. I mean, it starts off with her, she keeps seeing him around, so she's a little creeped out by that, but then she doesn't really completely, I mean... Little Tommy sees the boogeyman, and she's like, oh, there's nobody out there. Yeah. And she doesn't really, I don't think she really fully comes to grips, obviously, with what's happening. Until she goes to the house across the street and finds all the, the dead body. Well, spoilers! Okay, you need to... You have to... Come on.
Okay, so Laurie...
This film is how old now?
You know what? Just put spoiler warning at the beginning of this video. They've seen it.
But let's just say, I mean...
She just reacts based on panic. I mean, that's
what any normal person would do.
Exactly.
And also, she's a virgin.
She's a virgin, so she lives.
Yeah, she's laying down the ground rules of the horror movies.
Exactly. All the others are messing around. Yep. They got it.
Yep.
Don't mess around, y'all.
That's
now,
right.
Samuel Loomis, someone who knows how Michael acts, he is determined to stop Michael. And then we have Michael, who is mostly a silent character.
Well, he is a silent character.
Pretty good at giving the silent treatment.
Yeah,
except
for breathing. You hear his breathing once in a while.
But I mean, like, he doesn't really vocalize. He doesn't say anything. You hear him kind of like grunting with the exertion of killing somebody, but that's about it. And
he's a man of not many words.
No.
He just gives people silent treatment.
Yeah, he does give you the silent treatment. And
right.
Loomis says, I don't remember if it was this movie that Loomis said that he could talk, or was it 2018 where the other doctor said, oh, he can talk and he's aware, he just chooses not to talk.
That might be 2018.
Might be 20, or might have also been the extended edition of the 1978.
Yeah, could have been.
I don't remember.
Now the film, well, the movies from the late 70s, it doesn't look bad quality-wise. I mean, the editing I didn't really see any issues with the editing, did you?
As far as how they put it together, no, but just little things that they let slip through that were mistakes, like I mentioned on the podcast the other day.
Yeah.
The wrench is in his hand when he's crashing the, breaking the window in the car in one of the opening scenes. And you could say, well, he got a wrench to use it to break the window, but I don't think that was the intention. He actually had to use the wrench to break it.
If it was the intention, he
would have been holding it or something, and you would have seen it.
Not like palmed it in his hand.
And the thing is, honestly, I never really noticed it until someone, I was listening to a commentary on one of the DVDs that I have of it, and I think it might have been John Carpenter that mentioned something about this thing. It's like, you know what? If you had never noticed it, I might not have ever seen it.
Right.
Because I wasn't really, I mean, I've seen this movie enough. You think I would notice
100 times, like Terminator.
So many times. Not as much as Terminator, but I watch it every Halloween religiously.
Now, as for our enjoyment, well, I personally enjoyed it. It was a pretty tense film, and it was technically the first, horror slasher film. And it was well done. I mean, it didn't get ridiculous until the sequels came around. But, Mom,
it was tastefully done as far as horror goes, I guess you could say. Not ridiculous and over the top.
Yeah. It was kind of like just normal people in like a regular situation that could happen until the sequels. It started going like, he's got superpowers and this is his cousin and that's
like some sort of occult thing. And he's messing with his niece and she gets her pregnant and it's like, okay,
I mean,
that's gross.
This actually could happen if somebody was crazy enough.
That whole thing was silly. I mean, it just never. Michael was never really anybody that seemed to even have any ideas as far as that, and then in the movie they have him like raping his niece or something. It's
I don't know.
Horrible.
Yeah, just basically watch the first one in 2018. Maybe H2O if you want.
Or if you want to.
I mean, the second one.
The second one gets bad at the ending. It's not terrible until like maybe 2/3 or 3/4 of the way through.
I really like the beginning because it takes place like right after.
Right after, exactly right after.
That was kind of a cool concept.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, it's a classic horror film. John Carpenter, one of his
petrifying.
Best. And my mom, why don't you go into all the details about your childhood?
Well, I've told this story so many times.
Like the fact that you couldn't go to the bathroom.
Okay, I grew up without a TV. So, being exposed to this in the late 70s, 79 and like 81, around there, and it was playing on TV. And so they're watching, my mom and dad are watching at this creepy old house where my mom worked, and I had never seen anything. Well, they've gone to movie theaters before, and I'd seen stuff that scared me to death. So I took it really literally, and instead of changing the channel, they said, turn around so you don't see anything, but I can hear all the killing and stuff going on. And then they're like, he's dead. So I turned back around. No, he's not. He comes up again. So just, I have been scarred for life ever since then. So scared. Like, I would have nightmares, and my bed at the time was right by the front door. Ooh. Michael's going to come get me, It was awful.
How was sleeping that first night?
Oh, I probably didn't even sleep. I was so scarred I don't even remember. I just remember that it really affected me, and I have had nightmares about him to this day, and still have nightmares about him.
Can you imagine just sleeping there and you hear the dun?
Well, I'll have a nightmare about him, wake up in the middle of the night, have a nightmare, go to the bathroom, come back, and I'm just convinced he's right around the corner. And I know he's not, But I'll watch the movie, and if I go outside at night,
because we have the mask.
You have the mask.
I could just play the role.
Don't do that, especially in the middle of the night.
Smacked upside the head.
Like Hector just about got smacked the other day when he came home wearing that thing.
Well, Halloween was, I guess you could, the very first horror slasher to start the genre. So how would you rate it, Mom? How would you rate it?
Well, you know me. I mean, for all its flaws, okay. I would say 10 out of 10 just for the horror aspect of it for me, but obviously there are issues with it. The acting isn't so great of the two girls that play her friends. The acting's not so great. There are these little, issues that I noticed, like the wrench in his hand, I wish they could go back and digitally remove stuff like that. So just because of those things, I would say like maybe 9 to 9.5, but horror, like actual pure horror, a 10 for me.
I would give it like maybe an 8.5.
I think that's what I'd give it, an 8.5.
Because it was well done. I mean, he used his head, and he figured out do a good horror story.
Well, very creative with a limited amount of money. It's almost like sometimes the less money a filmmaker has,
or you gotta think,
It's kind of like James Cameron
with the first
Terminator.
Yeah, as we talked about on the podcast. It's true, but yeah, super well done. He had filmed all this. His girlfriend at the time worked on it with him. She was the one who picked up the knife in the beginning. It was her hands that picked it up.
Oh, well, yeah, I think I did know that.
Yeah, and they did that long shot, and they were talking about this house that they filmed that scene in, and how it was the Myers house, and how it was all messed up. It was just nastified inside, and they just fixed up certain rooms.
Yeah.
So then, like, they were going around and strategically avoiding the spots that were really bad,
right.
and filming that whole thing. But he was saying how that the music really made it when he first either screened it. I think he screened it for some people, and they were like, and then he added his score to it, and that made all the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like with some of my projects. You kind of got to start small and use what you can, to make something.
Yeah.
And it could be like with him.
He was talented in multiple ways. I mean, he was a good filmmaker, good storyteller, and a good composer too. Because
that score really did make that movie.
For sure. Just like how in 2018, he did the score for 2018, and it's amazing. I love that score.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how the movie would have stood the test of time without that score. I mean, I don't know if it just wouldn't be the same.
So would you give it? What would your rating be for it? 8.5?
The same as yours.
Yeah.
All right. Well, recommendations. There was Halloween. Well.
Okay. So Halloween 2 and Halloween H20, or 20 years later.
Yeah.
If you want to look at that as sort of like a complete trilogy, but then they also retconned all that, and they said nothing after the original is going to count. So it's Halloween and Halloween 2018, and then of course there's
the others.
Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
But yeah, these are the recommendations for Halloween, unless you want to go with the bad ones.
Well, I mean, I've seen all of them.
If you just want to go in and turn your brain off and see a couple horror movies in Halloween, you can watch 4 and 5 and those.
Yeah.
I mean, they're okay. They're not, and 6 and Resurrection, whatever.
Oh, God.
That one I don't even know if I'd worry with.
That's almost a comedy, right? It feels like that's more of a comedy.
I mean, 4, I can watch 4.
It's got an 80s feel to it.
If you want to watch 4 and 5, maybe at 1 o'clock in the morning, okay, that's fine. That'll work. But if you're looking for a good film, you're not going to find it other than the first one. And maybe 8.
I liked the fourth one's look, just because it was 80s.
Well, because it did come out.
Like 88. 88.
Yeah, 88. I think 88 was 4, then 89 was 5.
Okay, they came out back to back. That's right.
This is Arturelia Film Room Review signing off, and check out my mom at Sin's Corner and Corey Michaels Movies.
Yes, correct.
She does live reactions
and some reviews too.
And he does collections and stuff.
Yeah, some reviews.
Some review stuff.
Just a little bit of random
If
stuff.
you want to see him, go by Best Buy and see the Cars 3.
Yeah, it's still working out.
It was what, 10?
Yeah, it's always 10. It's always 10.
Maybe they actually sell out when you're gone, and then they just restock.
No, they don't. They don't.
It's become a meme.
Yeah. Yeah, to me.
Cars 3. It's just sitting there. Menacingly.
After Cars 2, it's like, nope, nobody wants to deal with Cars.
I've never even seen Cars 2 or
I'm not
3.
either.
I heard 3 was better, though.
Yeah, it's supposed to be better.
Oh, here we go. Segueing to Cars 3 on a Halloween.
Cars 3 on a Halloween 1978 video.